Hey, welcome back guys, JC here, and here's my review for the FrSky XM and XM Plus receivers. You may have heard of them, you may have not. The most notorious thing about them are the size, just how small they are. To give you a good comparison, here's a penny. The XM is actually smaller than a penny, and the XM Plus is slightly larger. To give you an even better comparison, we all know and love the FrSky XSR because for the longest time it was the smallest receiver capable of telemetry with the full range. Many of us switched over to the XSR from the X4RSB and before that the D4R2. We see here that the XM is 1/4 of the size of the XSR and the XM Plus is about 1/3 of the size. What are the ranges like? That seems to be the most common question. The XM is rated at 400 meters, while the XM Plus is supposedly a full range receiver, meaning that the range should be exactly the same as the XSR, X4RSB, and all the others. Is that true or not? I cannot confirm at this time. I have seen some range tests where guys just take their transmitters and go for a walk, and they just keep walking until they eventually lose signal. Now, I don't find that to be the most accurate way of testing range, so what I have done is quickly thrown together a small GPS build, and I plan on actually flying it until I lose signal and the GPS kicks in, and then it returns to home. Then we can view the logs and see exactly what kind of range we are dealing with. I plan on testing both of these individually as well as the XSR and a few others back to back. So if you do want to see that video, stick around, and it should be coming up soon. I'm just putting some final touches on that GPS build. One gripe that many people have is that neither one of these receivers are capable of telemetry. They get no telemetry, none, like none whatsoever. But you do have to understand that the XSR, the reason these are smaller than the XSR is because the XSR has the circuitry needed for telemetry. You really can't, with the amount of space on these boards, you can't add in telemetry. I will add to that though, you still can get your RSSI in your on-screen display. As a matter of fact, if you look in the description below, you'll find my XM and XM Plus playlist, and I have a video in there showing you how to put RSSI in your on-screen display. I don't really find that to be that big of a deal because yes, I used to use telemetry back in the day when on-screen displays kind of sucked, but over the last 6 months or even the last year, on-screen displays have become much better, especially Betaflight's OSD feature that they implemented. Ever since then, I honestly stopped using telemetry. I use nothing but an on-screen display. So not having telemetry is no big deal for me, and I would prefer to have an even smaller receiver over a receiver that is capable of telemetry because I'm not even going to use it. Another complaint that people have is that neither one of these receivers, well, they're rated for 5 volts, but I can confirm that you can power them with 3.3 volts. Many guys are wanting to use this on small micro-size builds that, something like this that uses the 1S LiPos, the 1 cells. But the 1 cell batteries, they even fully charged, they're not pumping out 5 volts. Like I said, you can power these with 3.3 volts and they do work. I have confirmed this. The only problem though is that 1 cell batteries, just like your 3 and 4S batteries, whenever you do those full throttle punches, the voltage drops and then these receivers lose signal. You lose connection to them. I have found workarounds with all the other receivers, but I haven't messed around with these long enough. If I do find a workaround, then I will post a video on that, so just keep your eyes out for that. The antennas, these look like your standard UFL connectors, but they're actually smaller. Here are the standard size UFL connectors, and you'll see that they are about twice the size. So what this means is, if your antennas become damaged or chopped off by your props, I honestly don't know where you would purchase replacement antennas, at least not at this time. I haven't really looked into it. Honestly, I'm probably just going to be lazy about it and not worry about it until after I've chopped one off, and then I'll start looking around. But as of right now, I'm not really concerned with it. I'm just letting you guys be aware that they are smaller. Speaking of the 1 cell and micro-size builds, I will say that the 3.3 volt input is a problem at full throttle, or full throttle punches. But one good thing about these receivers are I have been using this one on my micro-size builds, which is capable of being powered off at 3.3 volts. But the problem is, if you've ever seen this thing in the receiver tab on Betaflight or CleanFlight, you will notice just how much jitter this thing has. It is unbelievable the amount of jitter you get with this. Both of these, there are virtually no jitter. And that's not just a good thing for micro-size builds, that's a good thing for even full-size builds, if you choose to use these on a full-size build. Personally, once I do the range test, and if the XM Plus does compare to the XSR, then I'm just going to be purchasing these from now on. Not only is it smaller, but it's also cheaper. Speaking of price, I've been purchasing these off of Banggood. The XM, at least at the time of recording this, is selling for about $10, and the XM Plus sells for about $16. You can purchase these off of Amazon and eBay. They do cost a little bit more. If you just look in the description below, I'll leave links to all of them, and you can check the prices there. And the final thing, all the ones that I've purchased have come with the non-EU firmware, but should you need the EU firmware, you can actually flash new firmware to these. I actually have a video showing you how to do that as well. Just look in the XM playlist that I've left for you in the description below. That's going to do it for this one, guys. So like I said, keep your eyes out for the range tests coming up soon. Look in the description below for other videos and links to where you can purchase these. Thanks, and I'll see you guys around.